can't sing, Chris. I heard you singing in the corridor this morning. You were made for me. The thing is that for the last 10, 15 years, remember, you could get fined if you didn't put it in the right bin, and all of this sort of stuff. You know, your blue lid, your green lid, your brown. In a sense, what we're realising is that we've all been sort of given this free pass to think we're doing the right thing. We're all just going to do a little bit when we finish our dinner, put it in the food.
That's right.
That's on. You might drive a diesel car, all those things. And I think that's what we're realising, and I think that's kind of what he's saying, is that we've all been let off the hook by thinking and this whole thing about, you know, plastic straws, an amazing campaign, you know, David Attenborough, they're all involved. And yet my son, who's 9, points out, he goes, what's the point of having a sort of a paper straw in a plastic cup? You go to places, there's still plastic cups everywhere.
There are.
So I think he's got a point, hasn't he, that we are kind of so late on this. They had the blinkers on.
We're just ticking.
Can be made from a mixture of different types of plastic, makes it some of the most difficult type of packaging to recycle. I had no idea. Yogurt pots and plastic cutlery made of polystyrene, not widely recycled, but I put it all in the recycling. If anything's contaminated with food, it literally is a nightmare to try and recycle. There's tons of recycling. Most bottles are sent for reprocessing in this country, but plastic that's less valuable, apparently, which is about 2/3 of what we collect, go overseas. Kind of mind-boggling, the kind of figures that are already being leaked, which in itself is a story.
And there'll still be...
Today, their lead story is about the rising cost of fuel. And the RSC are asking for a temporary. Do you think that could be something we don't?
No.
4 or 5%.
Well, there'll be
if you're on universal credit and you're having that, you've had that £20 taken off you, £9.44 back. So you're still down. You know, you can work 16 hours. You know, there's a row.
That was a conscious decision.
And there was, you know, a lot of light shed on child labour being used to produce, you know, sort of one-day fashion. You know, representing us in terms of the environment. You know, chances and that their, you know, living standards are slipping. No charisma can overcome the stress.
Good morning, it's just gone 6:30. Welcome to Tuesday's programme. Would you go on Masked Singer? Would you do that? Or Masked
Well, I
Dancer?
can a bit, but not very well in a big old costume.
No. As and when the appropriate moment comes.
What was it called? You a little hint there, isn't it? Jonathan
That's quite
Ross
good, Richard. A bit more of that.
Boris has a knack, doesn't he? The recycling industry, of course, have danced up and down with in the house.
But it's also a sign of how much pre-packaged.
Hence, our guest here.
There's one about the trucks at a border control. Presumably this is a sort of Brexit type.
Are you doing that? And having heard him say that, are you planning to do that now? National Health Service. We've got Dr. Amir on the line for us here. He's got a gift of blending two news stories together and cross-pollinating them. And the one I saw a couple of weeks ago when everyone was...
There's so much material from Boris Johnson. Should we run a couple of other clips about what he was saying about feeding... About feeding animals.
People to animals.
Feeding people to animals.
Tomorrow. Thanks very much indeed for coming in.
No trouble.
Enjoy that.
Including Jonathan Ross, actually.
Oh, he's on the course, he is,
show. We've got Premier League legends Michael Owen and Robbie Keane joining us live from Dubai. So much on the show. Stay with us. You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV.
1 minute to 7 o'clock, which means it's competition time. And here we go again. How do you fancy winning a brand new BMW and, let's say, £90,000 in cash? Here's Andy with the details. Good morning, Britain. It's exactly 2.5 minutes past 7 o'clock.
Millions of nurses, teachers and members of the armed forces will be among those getting a pay rise next April, as the Chancellor is set to unfreeze public sector pay in this Wednesday's budget. Rishi Sunak has also confirmed that next year the UK's national living wage will rise from £8.91 to £9.50 an hour for workers aged 23 and over. That's an increase of over 6.5%.
All right, we're going to speak to...
what are we going to do now?
Yeah.
Should we reject it all and move?
Could happen.
Yeah. Still ahead on Good Morning Britain. Football legends Robbie Keane and Michael Owen. They've been talking to us about why they're teaming up together, actually, to try and find some future footballers, and lots of other situations to talk about too. David Beckham being the ambassador for the Qatar World Cup 2022. That's controversial, isn't it?
Talking of that, we were talking a half an hour ago about maybe doing individual boycotts of Chinese goods and ask
because they're not coming to the
because they're not coming to the climate change conference, and they are one of the world's biggest polluters and responsible for climate change. And a lot of people have responded in kind. Colin says, very interesting discussion this morning, guys. Have a look where your new lateral flow tests are made. Peter on email says, our family's been boycotting Chinese goods for a year. Kathy says, I've tried not to buy anything from China. China for ages now, especially on Amazon. And Patrick says we do our best to avoid anything from China, even if we have to pay more, which is what Andrew said.
So Andrew Pierce, who was on earlier, said he found a T-shirt, put it down and bought one that was made somewhere else. I mean, it's an interesting...
well, Patrick says if more of us did it, maybe China would start to engage in climate action.
I mean, we'd all have to do it, wouldn't we?
We'd all have to do it. We'd have to do it consistently.
Let us know what you think. We're going to have a debate about recycling too later on. What do you think about recycling? Is it worthwhile? Boris says it's not the answer fully. Let's get the news, travel and weather where you are.